Human conversation moves at a blistering pace. Across a dinner table, people trade thoughts in milliseconds, talking over one another to keep the room alive. But for a stroke survivor at that exact same table, the processing timeline has completely changed. Their brain is actively rerouting neural pathways to achieve tasks that used to be automatic. They have a fully formed opinion, a sharp joke, or an answer ready to go. The problem is the sheer physical delay in getting facial muscles and vocal cords to output those words. By the time they are ready to speak, the topic has already moved on. Families rarely exclude their recovering loved ones out of malice. The isolation happens by accident, driven entirely by the momentum of neurotypical speakers. This diagram illustrates the structural problem. The top timeline represents standard conversation, rapid nodes of speech. The bottom timeline is the stroke survivor's reality, with a heavy, necessary pause. Uncomfortable with silence, neurotypical speakers instinctively fill the gap, completely consuming the window the survivor needed. Without a system to halt the dominant timeline, the survivor becomes invisible in their living room. They simply cannot compete with the established speed. To survive this rapid family dynamic, the patient has to become a self-advocate. They have to step in and stop the room. Polite, passive waiting guarantees failure in a group setting. Sitting quietly and hoping someone will eventually grant a 10-second grace period means the conversation will just roll right past. Navigating communication during recovery is a two-way street. Families must be willing to listen, but the survivor must take definitive action to force the fast talkers to hit the brakes. Overcoming the speed of everyday life requires a deliberate, undeniable physical boundary. Consider the grandfather of stroke educator Robert Smith. He lived post-stroke for many years with severe communication difficulties. His solution to the pacing problem was highly mechanical. He attached a literal, loud horn to his communication device. When he had a thought, he didn't wait for a polite opening. He squeezed the horn. It created an immediate, jarring interruption that easily cut through the overlapping chatter of a busy room. His family didn't react with annoyance. Their response was instant attention. "Oh, of course, what do you have to say?" The affection and willingness to listen were always there, waiting behind the momentum of the room. That horn served a vital function. It allowed him to stop time and forcefully demand the space he needed to get his words out. You don't need a bicycle horn to execute this strategy. The goal is to find an accessible, everyday tool that serves the exact same disruptive function. A visual signal works perfectly. Throwing a hand high in the air creates an immediate roadblock. It physically signals a pause to everyone in the room. You can also establish a rigid verbal boundary, stating clearly, "I would like time to participate, and you have to give me some," formally rewrites the rules of engagement for that conversation. The specific object or phrase chosen is entirely secondary. The success comes from applying the underlying mechanic, deliberately disrupting the natural speed of the people around you. This system gives caregivers a distinct, actionable responsibility. The moment you see the hand go up or hear the boundary stated, your job is to immediately stop talking and protect the silence. The survivor's responsibility is to refuse to let the world leave them behind. You have to sound your own version of the horn and demand the time you deserve. Medical rehabilitation repairs the brain. True recovery involves two parties actively collaborating to engineer an environment that accommodates an entirely new timeline.